You glance at your phone. It says November. You could swear it was just July. You try to name what you did this year and almost nothing comes back. When you were 8, one Tuesday in summer was enormous. Sidewalk heat, a cartoon, dinner, and still a whole evening ahead. Now you open your laptop, take the same route home, and it is already dark. So what changed? Not the day, the way your brain cuts it into moments. In 2025, researchers at Brock University analyzed fMRI brain scans from 577 people, ages 18 to 88, while they watched an 8-minute film. The study found that older brains stayed in the same neural state for longer, fewer switches, fewer boundaries between moments. That may help explain why a year can leave so little behind. Tonight, we're going to find out where your years are actually going. Think about your favorite memory from age 12. You can probably still see the room, the light, the way someone's voice sounded. Now try the same with last March. Almost gone. This is not a new question. Around 350 BCE, Aristotle wrote that time is measured by the number of changes we notice. No change, no time. He saw it before any brain scanner existed. But here's what is strange. The pattern is not random. Memory researchers have a name for it. They call it the reminiscence bump. Across hundreds of studies, when you ask adults to list the most vivid moments of their lives, an unfair share comes from one window, ages 10 to 25. The first kiss, the first city, the first apartment, the first time someone really listened to you. After that, the events thin out. Not because life stops happening, because it stops being new. 2,000 years after Aristotle, in 1890, the Harvard psychologist William James reached the same conclusion in different language. He argued that youth feels long because it is full of first experiences. As life goes on, fewer things feel new, and the years quietly compress. And here is the part nobody talks about. Your brain does not record what is similar. It records what is different. Same coffee, same route, same Tuesday, same Thursday. Your memory writes almost nothing. The summers of your childhood were not magical. They were just full of moments your brain had no choice but to mark. And there is something cruel about how this works. A 2-week vacation in a new country feels short while you are living it, but for years afterward, it expands inside your memory, full of distinct days, distinct faces, distinct meals. Meanwhile, the 4 months you spent at the same desk dissolve into one long Tuesday. The brain measures time by how many separate moments survived. Adult life, optimized for comfort, quietly removes the things that produce them. Familiar bed, familiar partner, familiar commute, familiar screen, familiar Sunday. Each year that resembles the one before becomes a year your memory has trouble keeping apart. But this is only the surface, because something else is happening inside the aging brain itself. Look closer at what the Brock team was actually doing inside that scanner. Not tracking memory, not emotion, not even attention. They were watching one signal. How often each brain switched from one internal pattern to another while the film played. The film itself was a careful choice. An 8-minute episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents from 1961 called You're Dead. Hitchcock built it around constant tiny shifts. A glance, a hand, a doorway, a footstep. A child carrying a loaded revolver through a town that does not yet know. Every time the story turned, the brain was supposed to turn with it, and the scanner could finally see those turns. Researchers call them neural states. Think of one neural state as the way your mind holds a single moment before it becomes the next. A new face, a new room, a new feeling. Each one a small change in the texture of your attention. In the brains of younger viewers, the states changed often. The brain kept lighting up in new configurations, marking each beat of the story. In older brains, something quietly different. The same neural state stayed lit for longer. The transitions came less frequently. The boundaries between moments softened. There is a name for this pattern. Researchers call it neural de-differentiation. The brain stops cutting experience into clean, separate slices. 2 moments become one. One afternoon becomes an evening. 1 week becomes a feeling you cannot quite describe. And this is the part that may help explain everything. If your brain marks fewer separate moments, you remember fewer separate moments. The year you just lived feels shorter from the inside. Aristotle, 23 centuries earlier, intuited the shape of this. The Brock team finally saw it on a screen. So when you stand in your kitchen tonight trying to find this year in your head, this is the deeper layer. Your year was not empty. Your brain just stitched it into fewer pieces than it would have at 20. And the most unsettling part is this: aging is only part of why. Because there is a second cause. Quieter, easier to miss. Your modern life, adult life, by design, is built to remove friction. Same alarm, same scroll, same playlist, same desk, same takeout, same shows. You optimized for comfort, and the brain quietly returned the favor by not bothering to save much of it. In 2019, the Duke engineer Adrian Bejan argued from a different angle entirely. As the brain ages, he suggested, it processes fewer mental images per unit of time. Two pieces of research, two different methods, pointing at the same drift. Fewer images, fewer transitions, less recorded life. But here is the part nobody talks about. The aging brain is not the only thing creating fewer transitions. Aging lives create them too. A normal adult week gives your brain almost nothing new to mark. Try this. Look at last week. Try to name 3 distinct days. Most people cannot, not because the days did not happen, because almost nothing about Tuesday made it different from Thursday. This is why the phone said November when you could swear it was just July. It is not that the months were empty, they were too similar for memory to hold them apart. Comfort removes friction, and friction is often what gives memory something to grip. And the way out is quieter than most people think. Not more. Different. It begins with what your brain decides is worth marking. The clock was never the thing that changed. Time still gives you the same hours. But memory does not keep hours. It keeps edges. When you were a child, a day felt long because the world kept interrupting itself. A new street, a new sound, a fear you had never felt. A small discovery that made the whole afternoon different. Your brain had no choice but to separate it. Adult life becomes smoother. Same rooms, same screens, same roads. Smooth days slide together until a month is hard to find. So when you look at your phone and feel the year has jumped from June to November, it was not stolen. It was blurred. But there is something hopeful inside that. You cannot slow the clock, but you can give memory more to hold, not more noise, not more tasks, more differences. More things you chose, loved, and noticed. The years that stay with you are the years your brain could tell apart.